Good morning, dear students of class 8th. I welcome you all to this new class of social science where we will continue the chapter Women, Caste and Reform. Children, I apologize for the content in the last video as the voice was not clear. I don't know what issues were there and don't worry, they will be resolved and they will be fixed. So I'm sorry for the audible part in the last video which was uploaded. Now since we have completed the status of women, how it was, then we saw what reforms were brought in the lives and how British government approved them. Then we saw when girls started writing about girls. Then we saw society and equality, where caste and social reforms were there. And today we will start with the new heading further in the chapter, which is Gulam Giri. Again, children, Gulam Giri is a word which is telling you the meaning itself. Gulam Giri, somebody who is working for you, a Gulam. Now, Jyotirao Phule was born in year 1827 in Maharashtra. He studied in schools set up by Christian missionaries. On growing up, he developed his own ideas about the injustice of caste society. Now, when Jyotirao Phule was studying and taking education in a Christian missionary school, he realized his own ideas of social injustice. He attacked the Brahmins by saying that they were not superior to others. He said that Brahmins were the Aryans who came from outside the continent and defeated the true children of the country. Now, when Jyotirao Phule started getting education, he started developing his own ideas and thoughts. Now he believed in this and he attacked the Brahmins by saying that the Brahmins were not at all superior from any other caste person. Actually, they are the Aryans who came to our country outside the continent. Now, children, as Aryans defeated the population of our country of caste people, according to Phule, the upper caste had no right to their land and power. According to Phule, these Aryans, because who were the Aryans according to Jyotirao Phule? The Brahmins. And Phule said that these people have no right on our country's land. In reality, the landowners were so called the low caste people. So this was the concept which Jyotirao Phule stated. According to Jyotirao Phule, children, the actual landowners of the countries were these low caste people. Now, children, let's see the next topic, which says he founded. Let us see further, children. He founded an association. He founded an association, and you need to see that association where he must have fought for something. So he was not actually in a view. He was not actually in a view to give land or any other importance to these Brahmins. Now, he said that the actual landowners were the low caste people. So, children, he founded an association which is named as Satya Shodhak Samaj. Jyotirao Phule founded an important association, Satya Shodhak Samaj. It propagated caste equality. Propagated means it started, propagating, making people aware of one topic, which is caste equality in the caste. Now, in 1873, children, Phule wrote a book called Gulam Giri and dedicated it to American Civil War. In which, children, you all know, American Civil War, Americans had fought to free the slaves, where slavery was going on, and these Americans fought to free themselves. So we can say that Phule was against all forms of inequalities. He was even concerned for the situation of the upper caste women also. It is not that he was not concerned for the humanity, he was concerned for the humanity, but he was against the inequalities. So he was concerned for upper caste women also. This movement of caste reform was so also carried forward by other Dalit leaders such as Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. So, children, his ideas, Jyotirao Phule's ideas, were now carried away by different and propagated away by different other Dalit leaders who were Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. Now, the next heading, who could enter temples? Children, it is very simple to understand that in our caste system, which persisted, the only upper caste people were allowed to enter the temples, but these Dalits, lower caste, were not even allowed to enter the temples. Now, let us see what happens when these reformers started raising their voice. Who could enter temples? Ambedkar had noticed this since his childhood, that being from a Mahar family, he was never allowed to sit in the class where upper caste students were sitting. He was not allowed to enter the temple also. So when in 1927 he returned from United States, where he did his higher studies due to his fellowship which he had received, he started fighting against the injustice made by made three attempts of temple entry movement between 1927 to 35. This outraged Brahmin priests as Dalits and used water from the temple tank. His main aim was to make people see the power of caste prejudice within the society. Now, children, in simple words, to make you understand the last four lines is that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, after receiving his education in United States, where he studied there due to his fellowship, he was so talented that he received that fellowship and he got this opportunity to go to US. Now when he came back to India, he started fighting for these inequalities, where he raised three movements, three temple entry movements in the years 1927 to 35, and this outraged the Brahman priests as Dalits used water from the temple tank. Now, in this movement, he persisted on equalities of all religion. So, he convinced all the Dalit people to draw the water from the temple tank. So, this outrage means very fiery anger. So this had angered all the priests, all the pandits actually of the temples. Then children, the main aim of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was to make people see the power of caste prejudice within the society. Now children, prejudice is having some negative mindset about someone, having a negative image, having a negative mindset about someone. So this caste prejudice, that I have this mindset, he is a Dalit, he cannot enter the temple. I have this mindset, he is so and so, he cannot draw water, he belongs to low caste, he cannot draw water. So this is religious prejudice. So prejudice are the negative mindsets which are persisting in someone's mind. Right now, the non-Brahman movement, children, it is very simple. The non-Brahman movement, of course, in the name only says movement for the non-Brahmins. As itself, the Brahmins were enjoying the power, children, isn't it? So the non-Brahman movement, of course, is telling you the movement about people who belong to different caste, which is outside the Brahman community. I hope, children, this much is understood by you all. So let us see the non-Brahman movement, and uh, after that there are different Samaj and the associations which was set up by the reformers, which we'll be doing in the next class. So the non-Brahman movement in the early 20th century, where non-Brahman movement was started, children. They argued it was started by those non-Brahman leaders, non-Brahman caste that had access to education, wealth, and influence. Now they argued that Brahmin were the invaders, they were the Aryans from outside the continent. So E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar, also called or Perrier, he was also known as uh, middle class family. He was an ascetic in early life and had studied Sanskrit scriptures thoroughly. Later on, he became the member of Congress, which he left because of the caste discrimination. Isn't it, children? So, Perrier left Congress later on because he felt that caste discrimination was going on. So he experienced at a feast organized by the nationalist. So when he was in the Congress party, he experienced this caste discrimination. So he left the party. Now Perrier founded the Self Respect Samaj, self respect movement, basically self respect movement. He argued that untouchables were the original natives of the Tamil and Dravidian culture, which had been subjugated by Brahmins. Subjugating means overshadowed by Brahmins. So his idea in simple words is, Perrier's idea in simple words is that these Dalits, untouchables, are the original natives of our land, our culture, but they were overcasted, overshadowed by the Brahmins. He advocated that all religious authorities saw caste divisions as God given, therefore. Untouchables had to free themselves from all religions in order to achieve social equality. So Perrier demanded the equality for these untouchables. Now, Perrier claimed that many of the religious texts, Ramayana and Bhagavad Gita, had been used by Brahmins to establish their authority over other castes for domination in the country. So, these forceful speeches, writings, and movements of lower caste leaders started going on, but orthodox Hindu society was reacted by founding Sanatan Dharma Sabhas and Bharat Dharma Mahamandal in the north, and associations like Brahman Sabha in Bengal. The main aim of these associations, children, was to justify the caste distinctions as a cornerstone of Hinduism. Now see, whenever a person raises voice for someone, obviously the other party also tries to defend himself. So when Perrier and non-Brahman leaders started joining the non-Brahman movement and self-respect movement, what did the Hindus do? These Hindus started establishing different sabha, different meetings at different parts of country, and the motive was to defend themselves correctly, as caste system was a correct point of Hindu religion. So such debates and struggles started going on in the society. There were many organizations formed by various leaders, but still these two things started going on and going on. Now children, I would stop my class today, as we have discussed these three parts. Now from the next class I will discuss the different associations. The Samaj or the associations were set up by different reformers. For example, Ram Mohan Roy started establishing the Brahmo Samaj, then Ramakrishna Mission. So I will discuss all these missions in Samaj in the next class. After that, we will complete the chapter. So please go through the chapter, and if you have any problem, you may ask further. Thank you so much, children. Have a nice day.